Welcome, everybody, back to the Film Points podcast. I really do appreciate everyone coming in and checking out all our previous episodes that we have recorded. And just to give a little brief summary of the last episode that we did a guest interview with one of my friends, Nolan. He talked a little bit about his film career and experiences that he went through as a filmmaker and as a cinematographer as well. So if you'd like to check out that episode, please check it out and check out Nolan's Instagram and all the work that he does. So we really appreciate him coming on. And let's get on to today's topic. Also, before I wanted to not promote, I guess, but just let everyone know that we do have an Instagram for the podcast. It is Film Points Podcast on Instagram, and over there we post little like podcast clips, clips from the podcast, and some information about new upcoming episodes and some guests maybe that be coming on. So if you guys want to check that out, that would be greatly appreciated. We're also on TikTok as well at Film Points Podcast. We also have a media production page. It is Film Points Official. So if you guys want to check that out, and we have different projects going on at the moment. So if you guys want to go on there and check it out, that would be greatly appreciated as well. So with all that being said, welcome everybody back to another episode. In this episode, it's something that I was really thinking about like in the last couple of days. And I seen like a couple people posted on social media, and it's the topic of physical media versus digital media. And to me, it intrigues me because I feel like I'm not gonna say us as people that we gotten more like lazy, but I feel that with all the streaming sites and everything that's going on nowadays, it's kind of easier just to like subscribe to a certain uh, company or a certain website, and you get to and they only have like a certain type of films or certain type of movies that are on there. So if you want to check out um, what your favorite movie is on another website, then you have to go subscribe to that website, and then the process keeps like repeating over and over. And that's something that I'm a little bit frustrated with, just because like, you want something. If you want to watch your favorite movie or if you want to watch your favorite film, you should be able to do that, in my opinion. Because with all the streaming sites that are going on, you have to pay. You'll probably end up paying like $100 or $200 a month just on subscriptions. And I know because I've talked to people in the past, and sometimes you forget that you have all these subscriptions going on, and it's just, to me, it's just like a pain. I don't know. It's just a pain to have to deal with that. And so that's why I wanted to talk about this topic, because I feel like physical media, like what I've seen in different articles and what I've seen people post like videos about, is like it's something tangible. It's something that you can hold in your hand, something that's physical, something that okay, like I own this. Because really, if you're on a streaming website, you really don't like own it. You just own it for a time, like for that little time that you have. So, that's how I feel. Uh, Especially like people nowadays, like the way, uh, just the way that it's going nowadays, like it's, uh, different websites are increasing their prices like every single day. Like I remember when Netflix was, I think, $7 or $8 a month, and now I think it's like 14 or $15 a month, and that's like more. That's double the price. um, I think in my opinion, I think it's going to be a trend where people start to collect more physical media in today's society and today's age, just because of that factor of, if you want to watch that movie, but oh, it's only on whatever site or it's only on this site. Um, so I feel like people should have that option, and people should have that ability to be able to watch their favorite show or to watch their favorite film. So we'll continue on with the topic. And one of the points that I guess I wanted to go over was the point of like nostalgia. So the main thing that I've seen people when they were talking about physical media in this topic, um, they were mainly showing like their iPods, their MP3 players, and I don't know, it just like something like triggered something in the back of my mind where I was like, oh man, I wish like that era could like come back, you know. I don't know. That's how I see it. I just love that era. That era. I just love that era. It was something that, you know, you can put, you know, it's the same. I mean, like you have your iPhone now, obviously, but uh, it was just something like back in the day where you, if you didn't have like a phone or if you didn't have like whatever, you can have that certain device and, you know, you can put all your songs on, your music on, and it just takes you back, you know, when you were a kid or when you were younger, and it just brings back that memory. And I've seen a lot of people talking about it. They're like, oh, and they're showing off their old like iPods, their old MP3 players. So that was just something that I saw previously. With that, also with that nostalgia, when it comes to physical media, we're talking about uh, really nowadays physical media would be like Blu-ray, the 4K Ultra HD or whatever you see at Walmart. You usually have it at Walmart, Target. Recently, what also I wanted to talk about as well was at Best Buy. They recently started removing all their physical media from their stores, and I wanted to test this theory out. Actually, I did want to test it out. So yesterday, I went into a Best Buy, and usually they have I want to say around like three or four rows of like DVDs or Blu-rays and like just like physical media like films, movies, you know, like discs, like physical discs, like about four rows I want to say. So I went in yesterday, like I say I think a week after that article came out, and there was only like one row, one single row of like DVDs, Blu-rays or whatever, just one row, and it was kind of like in the middle of the store, uh, and then like the rest were like you can tell where the other rows were, and then it was just like all empty. And I was like, okay, well they're gonna do something. They're gonna put something there. And I think in the article and what people were saying was that they're gonna focus more on like tech stuff, like I guess cameras or maybe something in the tech realm. So we'll see how that goes with that. But well, it was just kind of, I guess, I don't know, because it kind of took me back to the times of like Blockbuster, you know, when I was a kid, like 7, 8 years old, you know, I would go with my family to like the local Blockbuster. You would rent out a movie, you know, that type of feel. And people, like I think kids and younger people these days, they don't have that opportunity. They don't have that ability to do that. And I feel like that's something that everyone should go through because it's just something that, you know, it's cool, and also you get memories from it as well, like from your family and from your siblings, you know, your parents. That's something a lot of people talk about, like, oh, I used to go, you know, over here to Blockbuster, or I used to go over here to this, you know, video store, and we would rent out like VHS, or we would rent out DVDs, you know, for like a week or a couple of days. And you know, I don't know. And that's something I think like in the future that people will miss out on. And I feel that people should like be able to do that because, you know, I think today's age it's like too easy to go and like find a film. Well, not actually, not really, because you have to subscribe to different streaming websites to get basically to see what movie that you want, or purchase it online from different websites as well. You can purchase it a digital copy, but obviously, you know, we're speaking of the physical media at this point. But man, I don't know. I just really loved going to Blockbuster back in the day, and just going to like any video store. And I was watching too on YouTube. So many people like they still have video stores to this day, but it's like very few, very selective because the market is closing on that type of stuff. And I don't know, man. It's crazy, but I do like if you do have a video store or video spot in your hometown, or you know wherever you're listening to this podcast at. I say go check it out. Go support their their business. Obviously there might be a small local business, but go check it out. And I feel like that's something that people should be able to do. And it's just an experience. I think it is an experience for you to go and do those type of things, and don't do it like by yourself. I mean, you can if you want to, but I say do it like with other people. Do it with your friends, do it with your family, do it with yeah, friends, family, whatever, so you can build those memories, and you'll always remember that in later on in life. So we'll go on to the next part. So what I did actually, so I just came up with some pros of having physical media, and this is me like doing research on different types of people that like, okay, well, like this is a good reason why you should have it, and then like this is a bad reason. So I kind of like put like everything together. I did my own research, and I kind of did my own like thinking went into this. So one of the first points I wanted to talk about for the pros, which means something that's good from physical media, uh different, it comes with like special features. So like on DVDs and like Blu-rays, you have like the director's documentaries, and you have like different, sometimes blooper reels or bloopers, stuff that you wouldn't see like in on streaming. You're just going to see the film on streaming. So you don't get those different types of features, and you don't get those different types of feels. I don't know. It back in the day, it was so cool because on the DVDs, like you had like sometimes I had games too. Like when I was younger, like for like movies for kids, they had like special like different games. I think it was like Madagascar or something. I don't remember, but they just had like different games that you can play, and you don't get that nowadays. Like with the streaming, and man, it really is kind of like a missed opportunity, really, on the streaming websites part, because imagine like the engagement that you'll be able to have like with all those different types of things going on, but you don't get those special features on those films. And I feel like if you're really into that film, or you're really into that series or whatever, you want to see more of those actors, or you want to see more of the director giving commentary and be like, oh, like this happened. You just want to see more of it. But when you're using a streaming site, I don't think they don't do it. Like most of the time, I say like probably 99% of the time, or maybe even 100%, that they don't give you that type of feel. They don't give you those features that you would have with the physical media. Also, another pro would be you wouldn't have to switch subscriptions. So you would just have, how I seen people talk about it, you basically like build your own library. So it's kind of cool because it's kind of like, curated by yourself. You don't have to see like go on, whatever type of site, and you have to go through their collection, and you have to go through their website, and you have to go through like their library. So excuse me. Uh, and then you also have behind the scenes documentaries, and like how we talked about it before, that you won't be able to get that type of that type of feel, and that type of you just don't get that nowadays. I don't know how else just to say it. Like you don't get that, and I feel that that's something that is just great, and it adds more of an experience to watching a film, to getting engaged with it, because nowadays we kind of just watch it, and it's always like an hour and 30 minutes, and then we're done. We don't really, unless you really, really love that film, or you really, really love that production company or whatever director, you're not really going to put too much effort into like going in and be like, oh, like, I want to go see like the director's cut. Oh, I want to go see like behind the scenes type stuff. You know, if it's not there in front of you, and you're not really like that in like into it, you're not gonna go in and search for that, in my opinion. And always, another pro would be you always have a copy with you, so you wouldn't have to like how we talked about, go on a certain website just to watch your favorite film or to watch your favorite movie. You would always have it with you. So whenever you want to watch it, you can just pop it in. Or, I seen people, they get these like databases, I think, and then they put like, they kind of render them into the database. I don't know. It's like a whole process, but it's something that maybe I would like to do. But I'm just doing more research into it to see, like, I don't want to say something that's wrong, and then it's not that way, and then everybody comes for me. So, but from what I've seen people do it and like reviews, it looks like it's kind of like a mini computer, and you basically just put all your whatever your Blu-rays, your DVDs into this one little computer, and then you can just go in and then whatever you want to watch, you can just watch it at that time. So I think it's great. It's just, uh, but that would be great. You just you can have your own copy with you at all times, and you don't have to like okay, like which site has this movie that I want to watch right now, And we talked about building your own library. If you like a certain genre of movies, or if you like a certain like director, you can curate your own type of library, curate your own type of like feel. And I think the way uh to build your own library is just like go off like your interests, go off your like favorite topics, or go off your favorite genres. You don't have to do that necessarily, but if it's something that you love and something that you like engage more with, I feel like you'll benefit more from that. So, and another pro will be preservation, which is just basically means like keeping everything like all together. You don't have to uh like if something happens, then you still have that. Let's say they just stop streaming like a certain movie for whatever reason, they're like, okay, we're not going to stream this film, or we're not going to stream this movie anymore. You can always have that copy with you, so you don't like, okay, well, you don't have to worry about that anymore. You just always have it. So, and that was kind of the pros. And I was like going through when I was doing my research, I was kind of going through like the pros and the cons and be like, okay, which one's gonna weigh out the other? So I had an idea in the back of my head, or I had an idea in my head, and I just wanted to see like, okay, which one is gonna win, the pros or the cons? But I'll let you guys know that later on in the episode. So now we're gonna talk about the cons, something that's that may be a little bit difficult when you're trying to collect like all this physical media, especially like at one time. So here we go. One con would be like it takes up a lot of space. So I guess it also depends on how much physical media you have. So if you want to go all in, then you're gonna need like at least like an extra room in your in your house, or wherever you're staying at, just to uh just to have uh that library that we talked about, or have that place that you want to put all your whatever. If you collect VHS, if you collect DVDs, Blu-rays, like you're gonna have to have like, obviously, it takes up space. And just with anything, that's how you think of it. Like, okay, well, this is gonna take up this certain amount of space. This is gonna take up like that space. So that's one con that I was thinking. I was like, well, okay, yeah, that could be like that can be a big play into whether or not you want to collect physical media, or just the amount that you want to collect. Like how we talked about, if you want to go all in, then I can see like how that would play a major factor, or play a major role in how you want to do that. And then also another con, I've seen people saying that it's more expensive to collect physical media. So usually, like if you're trying to get like the 4K Ultra, or I don't really know the terminology, uh, like the Blu-rays and the 4K. I think the 4K Ultra is the most expensive. So, and that will run you about like 25 or 30, or it might be even more. I'm not sure. Because I went into Best Buy yesterday and I was just trying to look at the prices, but I think the 4K is usually around like 25 to 30, depending, I guess, on whatever, how they want to mark it up. So, and you're paying that for each each and every one. So, the money can add up. The finance will be able to add up. So that's something that you have to think about as well. If you want to get into that, be like, okay, well, I'm gonna. If you want to save up, I guess you can. If you just want to ditch like streaming like completely, then I say like if you want to save up, like save some money on the side, and if you want to go into that, then you can. But like in my opinion, well, we'll talk about that later. But that's just one of the other cons is that it could be more expensive. And then what I've seen two people talk about, and I guess I really did think about when I was first doing my research, was that it could be damaged or stolen. So like let's say, you know, something happens and your house gets broken into, or you know something happens, like a hurricane or a flood, and it damages your house, and then all your physical media or your media is inside a certain room or is inside your house, and your house is flooded, you know, you can't really use it anymore unless I mean, I seen people they save it on this computer, but I think in an emergency situation, I don't know if you'll go to to go save that computer. I think you would just grab your family or your necessities that you need, and you would just get out of there, because that stuff can be replaced. You don't have to worry about that too much. But that would be another con, that it can be like damaged or stolen, or let's say you drop it or whatever. They're very fragile, like DVDs and Blu-rays. So even like if you just drop it on the floor, sometimes it can get scratched and maybe not work the same way. So when you go in and try to download it, it won't be the same, or it won't like have that same look. Because what I've seen people do, like when they try to download it, if there's a scratch on it, or if it's messed up in any type of certain way, they will it will show up like when you download it on the screen, or sometimes the computer will tell you like, oh, it's not working or whatever. So that's another thing. And so I do believe that there's more cons, but I think that those are the major ones for the cons. Um, and with streaming too, like how we talked about it, it does save on that space, so you wouldn't have to like build an extra room, or if you had an extra room, you can like fill it with something else. You don't have to fill it up with all your like DVDs, Blu-rays, physical media, that type of stuff. You can just go the route of digital media. And I think a lot of people do that nowadays, just for the pure factor of, it's convenient. People nowadays, they want that convenience. They want something that, okay, like, this is something that I don't have to worry about. You know how we talked about with the cons, like damage, stolen, I have to do all this. It's gonna be more expensive. And some people might say, like, yeah, it's expensive, but you have that copy, or you have that favorite movie that you want to watch. You don't have to go to a streaming service. You don't have to go to a streaming website to be able to watch that film. So that was the pros and the cons, and how I talked about before, how I said like which one would win. I think the pros would win when I was doing the research, and I think I was right. I do have to say I do have more pros and cons from it, but how I see it is that like uh, the cons kind of play, like, I want to say like a more of a major factor, because with the pros I feel that it's more of like, I don't know how to describe it, but like more of a benefit than I guess a factor, if you guys can understand that. I don't know, my brain works like that. But I see like how the pros, like how I listed off all the pros, like how we talked about comes with special features, comes, behind the scenes documentaries, director commentaries, like that type of stuff. I feel like you benefit uh benefit from that, from having a physical copy, than to as like, would it be like a major factor? Like, do people actually care about like special features? Do people actually care about like the director's commentary or bloopers or whatever, or people just want to watch the film and then that's it? So whether or not you care about that stuff is how you're gonna see if you want to do physical media or if you want to stick with digital. So if you care about that type of stuff, and if you care about, not having to not having to worry about having to find your certain movie or certain film on a website, then I feel like you would go with, having physical media. And I did want to go which way or the other, like I did when I was doing my research. But so my conclusion is that I came up with I think you should have a little bit of both. I think you should have the both. You should have the best of both worlds, really. And then you might say like, hey, like, you can't have your cake and eat it too. But I feel that you need to have a little bit of both. That's what I came up with in my conclusion. Because how I see it is that if you do have that type of physical media, it is gonna add up. It's gonna, build up in whatever. If you store it in a room, you store it in your house. Either way, it's gonna build up. So, and I know usually people that are collectors, or as myself, that's a collector. I want to finish like the whole, like the whole set. So I want to have like everything, you know, in order, and then everything, from which series, and everything from which director, everything from which genre, that's gonna be that type of person I'm gonna be. So I know myself already, and then you know yourself as well. So if you're that type of person, then like, okay, like maybe have a little bit of both. You don't have to, go all in. In my opinion, you don't have to go all in into a certain, like, okay, I'm gonna go all in on physical media. I'm gonna go all in on digital media, because in my opinion, I feel you need that. I don't know, something what I've seen people talk about is you need to have that tangible factor, like something that you can go in and then just like touch physically, something that you can, because like after a while when you're just consuming like digital media, after a while, you're like, you kind of, I don't, maybe you might get bored with it, but I just feel like you need that factor like in your life. You need that factor of just having that, and there, and it's just something to do. So I do like the idea of my own library. I do like that from the part of the physical media. I do like that factor. I really do, because I can curate all my different types, like my favorite types of films, my favorite types of films by my favorite directors, favorite genres, favorite actors, or people curate their own stuff by whatever their interests are, obviously. So if you want to go into that, then I really like that idea. That's something that I really love to do, and something I would like to do in the future. uh but like I think I would do just a little bit of both, just because I don't know, that's just how I see it. And you also save on space, so so that's how we talked about too. You save on that space, and you can put, like, if you want to make that your physical media room or your media room, you can use it as your office or work or something, where it's just not something just stored up. Try to do something, make that room like more productive, make it into a gym, make it into a office, something that you can like put work into, and get work done. And how I wanted to, uh, another question I asked myself was, like how we talked about earlier, was, which one outweighs the other. And if if you say, okay, well, just pick one. Well, if I was to pick one, I would choose the physical media. If I was to choose one, that's not my choice. But if I was to choose one, I would pick the physical media, just because I think it would be great to just to have that. And how we talked about earlier was when you go into that video store, or you go into the Blockbuster, when you were a kid, and I just feel like it brings back that nostalgia factor. And you have a lot of great memories from it, from friends, family, and let's just say like family that's not here anymore. You always have those type of memories, like from that store. And I feel that people need to have that. Let's say, like, you have a family one day, like in the future, and because I'm pretty sure in the future, like, all this physical media is gonna be gone. Like, you better get it while you can, uh, because like Best Buy already took it out of their stores. Like, I seen it. That's why I wanted to test out this theory. Well, it's not really a theory if they came out with an article with it, but I just wanted to test it out. And sure enough, I know, like, in the Best Buy they had at least like 3 or 4 rows of like Blu-rays and DVDs. But yep, I went in there yesterday and there was only one row. So I don't know. It's like the end of an era, and it's kind of crazy to think about how we can just watch like our favorite shows or our favorite movies like from our something that's in our pocket, a phone that's in our pocket. And if you think about that like 10, 20 years ago, people weren't really thinking about that, people will go to the theater or whatever, that type of stuff. But, nowadays it's just so convenient, that convenience factor of having something that you like or that you love or something that you're interested in, and you can watch it like from your pocket and from your phone. And on previous episodes too, we talked about how you can film for 4K on your iPhone. And it's just so many different factors. I guess that can be a different topic for a different episode. Just how, nowadays and in today's age, you can do so many things from what's in your pocket. So don't get me wrong, I do like the factor. I do like that, because let's say like you're going on an airplane, or if you're traveling to a certain country, or a certain state or whatever, it doesn't have to be outside the country. Um, you can watch your favorite show, you can watch your favorite movies, you can watch your favorite films, and I love that factor of it because like, people that have the physical media, like what they're gonna do when they go on trips or when they travel. I did not even thinking about that. That's something I did not think about. When you go out of town or whatever, you have to stay somewhere. You're gonna stay at an Airbnb or you're gonna stay at a hotel. You know, 9 times out of 10, they're gonna have streaming service. Usually, they have like Netflix or whatever, that type of stuff. They're gonna have like some type of streaming service on their TV or whatever, the TV in your hotel room. So that's just something to think about too. And I didn't even think about that. But yeah, I didn't think about that when you travel, that you're gonna have that certain type of factor. You obviously you gotta have something on your phone. So I guess they just download them on their phone, I guess. But yeah. So part of the conclusion, I was thinking about which one outweighs the other. And I do say if I had to pick one, that I would choose to go with the physical media, just because out of the pure nostalgia factor, and that's just something that I would like to do. Uh, so yeah, and to end this episode, I just wanted to end it off. Maybe I'll make this like a regular type thing. I don't know, I'm not sure yet, but it's just something that I thought about when I was going into research about this topic. So I'm gonna end this episode with one of the quotes from. What I would like to do is just end like each episode with a quote from a film director. So today's quote is, "All good ideas start out as bad ideas. That's why it takes too long." Steven Spielberg, film director. So I really do appreciate everyone checking out this episode. If you clicked on it, if you got something from it, that's great. I do appreciate everyone's feedback from all my previous episodes. It is very appreciated, and thank you guys so much for supporting me and watching this podcast. So I really do appreciate it. Again, if you want to check us out on Instagram, it's Film Points Podcast on Instagram. We're also Film Points Podcast on TikTok. We also have a media production page as well. It's Film Points Official. So if you guys want to check that out, uh, like how we talked about, we just go over like if we're doing certain projects, anything that we're working on, we'll let you guys know if you want to stay updated with that. You can also follow me on Instagram at timothy.montes. So if you guys want to be on the podcast, or if you guys have any topics that you would like for me to talk about, just let me know on there. And that that's all for this episode. So I really do appreciate you guys. Once again, thank you for all the support, and I'll see you in the next episode.